Mm-hmm. Pace and ring generalship. That's what you guys are about to witness right now. Some great skill sets in the ring when working with guys like Devin Haney and Shakur Stevens, which is who you're watching right now. And here's just a little segment. Today is going to be covering ring. Okay, so you see what you're watching is two guys who truly understand ring generalship. Mastery in the ring is all about knowing exactly where you are at all times and knowing where you're about to go, what the consequences of being in that position. And so that's one of the things that we're going to get into today. And not only that, we're going to show you an actual tutorial walking you through and giving you one round of what most of you are looking for, clarity on this thing called boxing. So before we get started with that, I'd like to introduce myself before we get going with this amazing show, because there's several things that I know you guys have been looking forward to listening to, and I'm going to give it to you. But before I get started, I'd like to introduce myself and the show. My name is Eric Bradley. For those of you who have never watched this channel, shame on you. Boy, you are late to the dance. This is the actual Get It Poppin' Boxing and Business show that we host every week, giving you clarity on the inside of the sport and making sure that you who are in the combat world also have a springboard somewhere that you can come and get the right data and not be confused, because we're consistent and we are going to constantly give you what's necessary. And I'm going to use all of my 4 decades of experience and the 134 years of knowledge that encompasses inside of the Master Boxing brand. So, with that being said, I'd like to say special shouts out to our sponsor, because without Jab Juice Consultants, this show couldn't be possible, because we wouldn't have mics, we wouldn't have cameras, we wouldn't have computers. They sponsor the entirety of you guys' success, learning from someone who's done it for a very long time now. So, Jab Juice Consultants, helping the world of combat reach their highest level, build their personal brands, and understand how to get to the highest level using just the straight line concept of making it simple to become popular enough to have leverage in your combat career. That's Jab Juice in the building. Jabjuice.com. Elevate your game. Now, back to the topic at hand. Here we go. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get into a couple of things. I want you guys to play close attention to how the actual distancing, and even when one gets into a scenario in the corner, you'll notice that they also know what to do when they get to that corner, which is where I know you get stuck. You get to the corner with your back and you don't know what to do. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I can get this up. Let's go. Just watch the ring generalship, and I'm having some trouble with the actual play of the video. It's kind of weird. Well, let me take it out of the studio. And I like to say we have to send a special shout out to one of our guys who's actually in a pay-per-view event this coming up weekend, Coach Haraber, Paul Haraber, for doing some amazing things. Not even a year ago, just over a year ago, he wasn't even working with fighters. So here's what I say to all of the trainers who are now out here trying to find their feet in the sport of boxing and don't think that they can do it. Well, everything is possible. And not only is it possible, it's probable when you have the right people in your corner. And so fortunately, we were able to help this young man get to his place and teach him exactly what it takes to get to that position in boxing where you can actually have your athletes competing on a pay-per-view event. And without that being said, this is one of the things that I'm going to also share with you, is how there'll be 5 things that you're going to need, because a lot of you are working as trainers in this game, and some of you run the gyms that these programs are coming out of. But what I want you guys to let it be known that there are these 5 things that you're going to need. And I always give you guys the rundown of this. And if you listen, you will get to that place without a shadow of a doubt. But you have to realize that these things are real and it's just not talk. I went through the process. I had to actually learn, and I had to really play the role of some of these more unsignificant roles in the sport, the ones you don't really get a lot of credit for, but have to be done. So, with that being said, I think I am going to pop something up for you guys to see right now. Um, I think so. So, let me see. Here's a
Right. You're
segment.
hating? That's crazy. Now,
One of the things that I'm going to get into is all about what you have to do to make it really relevant, to make it to this level, first of all. I'm going to start with number five. And number five is building up your personal brand so that you make it here. Listening to these guys do their thing, their marketing, you pay
I hit a
close
switch.
attention.
You shouldn't have done that.
But yeah,
Like, come on, bro.
I'm not one of these guys that's about to play the game with you. This shit is for real. I'm not here to play. I'm not here to none of that.
Okay. I don't have to prove myself. I mean, some things are just so noticeable that you don't have. Like, look at, I'm the bigger draw, better marketer.
What are you talking about? Like you acting. You just acting. So
I like to be a man of my word and give the people what they want. So
See what I say? It's obvious that all the fighters today know that this is an important thing. And so, the number one thing that I'm going to get into, and I'm going to tell you, I want to show you guys how to make it easy. We went into a whole bunch of different seminars and workshops to learn a lot of things that, a lot of you have been following me for many years. And through this duration, we did know that you have to be visible if you want to get bigger. Now it's a protocol. Promoters and all of these management companies now, the management companies don't really have a real dot to connect to help them out. They're trying to do everything on their own, and the promoters are too. That's where we come in, where we know that seeing how much actually goes into building a social media brand, you can't promote a guy to fame. That's just it'll be millions of dollars later, and a lot of lost money. What happens is sit here to teach you not the things that I want to teach you. I'm only teaching you the things you will need to know, the things that you will be faced with, the things that will deter you from getting to the goal that you wanted to reach. Like I said, some of you guys are boxers, some of you are from martial arts, and some of you are the trainers. But the reality is, what you have to know is what you may not always want to know. But this is where you get to this level of the sport
let's get the Devin fight going on.
where they're having face-offs on their own time, on their own dime, because they've built their brands. And that's what we're helping our coaches who decided to become members in the School of Boxing. And it's really boxing and business, because one without the other is nil. You can have the first thing that you're going to need. First, you're going to need, I'll put it on the screen so you don't think I'm just making things up. The five things you'll need. And I'll read these things accordingly. You're going to need a downline. There's no one with a title right now that's not generational knowledge, not generational boxing, like Tyson Fury always says. The lineal champ, you know, you must understand a boxing lineage is just what is in place to prevent you from making mistakes that you're going to make, the experiences that you're going to need. And if you don't have them, you take advantage of those people. And that's what happens to people who don't have that knowledge and years of experience or decades of experience with people that have been there and done it and know all the facets of the game. I have learned through experiences all the facets of the game of boxing, the sport as at large, and the industry I'm an industry leader in this industry. So, of course, I know all of the components. I deal with the political side, the financial side, and advise those who are on the ground level doing the actual physical boxing, the teachers who are, or the trainers who are working with these guys. So, what will you need to know? Number one, you'll need a downline, or you can just figure it out. And that's what you can't afford to do today. Number two, you're going to need a system of training, because not only do you need the downline, but the downline needs to be training. I hear a lot of people right now that are working in camps that don't have a system in place. This system in the school is over 134 years old. All right. Since the beginning of the sport, we've had people from my upline all the way back to the early turn of the 20th century. One of them's the most celebrated coach in this known right now in this era. And I always tip my cap to Coach Adams for being able to establish a downline like this one. And then my coach who had the likes of the Matthew Saad Muhammad's, the you know George Benton, just that whole Philadelphia mafia. It was just crazy. And I say mafia, I'd say that tongue in cheek. I mean, it's just so extensive, the knowledge and the amount of people who are just killers in the era, you know, and to be able to pull from that tree and to be anointed by the Archie Moore family and Joe Louis Barrow and his daughter Gloria. This just the people that you get the opportunity to help be a part of and learn the depths when you're able to hear stories from the 1930s and 40s from people who were, the son of Paul Durrell, who was in that epic fight with Archie Moore with like 8 knockdowns in the 40s, to talk to them kind of people and to get the inside and the depth of the stories. I mean, I literally have the entire experience on my computer typed by J. Marie Moore of the night, that week of what happened in that amazing fight with Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman, because Archie Moore was the coach in that corner. The stories that I've heard just from the inside out will make you guys just want to go do 10 miles and just run, because you do get to hear those kind of stories when you do this right, because you get in the upper echelon and you get to be recruited to be on boards, and boxing pays you back. And that's what it's done for me. I put in my work, and I'm trying to show you how to learn 4 decades in a couple of weeks. So that's why the training system is important, because if you don't have the skills that are required, the stuff that you know is not enough. And I'm gonna just tell you that because I'm sitting here and there are 30 books worth of content. Just I got an entire briefcase full. And if you and we're gonna throw everything at you. And if you don't have that, then you just don't stand a chance. You don't. That's the only reason you see so many one-sided fights. When it counts most, the cream rises to the top. The third thing you're going to need, so get the training system. We started people off getting accustomed to using a full training book. So that skills guide, this is what you hear people type in the word skills to get, because what they're learning is their actual process. This thing is winning championships and titles in the UFC, in boxing, and they're the top fighters in the world's trainers are right here, probably watching this, looking, honking on. And we know when people get our stuff too, because we understand how the email compilation works. People make adjustments, and we know people who are at the top, they buy the stuff that we have because they know that we are authentic. I mean, you can't be 134 years in existence and not authentic. But this is what we are trying to make sure that you guys have because we want you to have it, whether you get it from me or wherever you get it. The point is just know you can't make it without this because it's not that luck in boxing. Boxing is professional football. You will not take a chance and go put a helmet on and go play professional football because in boxing, you will die. People get really hurt. More people get hurt in boxing because they don't have the understanding in camp that you can't get away with being arrogant and too arrogant to go get help. So, encouragement there to trainers. That falls on your shoulders. Number three, sponsors. What is that? It's not someone who says, here's some money to, wear our shirts or put our name on the back of your robe when you're walking out. A sponsor is the people that speak in rooms that you're not allowed in. While you're training, they're in rooms that you can't get in. They're setting you up. They're putting you in positions to get deals, opportunity, revenue. Sponsors cover your purpose here. And to get that means you've done some other things right. So this is another thing that you'll need to have on board if you actually plan on being in a position like these guys are now. Everyone that's on these guys' teams are playing a full role. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, the teams that are on their docket are all playing their roles. Bill Haney's everywhere. You can't turn YouTube on and not see him. And the reason why that is because it has to do numbers. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, you can't turn on social media without seeing one of those guys. They understand what being visible means. So you got to get visible. If you have a weak social media, I'm talking to you. You're never going to be a champion. Nobody can afford to put people on who don't have a following. So that's why we did all those workshops so we can find this is called spar, and it doesn't mean spar in the ring. It's about systems, processes, acquisitions, and revenue. This is your beginner's guide to knowing how to sting, like building your personal brand in social media so that you can become not only a good boxer, but become a boxing starlight, one that has a star bright and one that is so bright that you can't even see it at night because of the light. Understand that when you understand that process, everything works succinctly and your boxing career is on the horizon. This is one of the reasons that when I spoke to our guy, Coach Robber, and for some reason I can't find the image on the computer, but what I'm going to do is share with you guys because there's a real sincere thankfulness. Special shouts out to Coach. There you go. There you go. On the This is what we do, and what we will do is we put that out because we want people to be encouraged. How important it is to have a media source. We are his media source. When he sits down for the negotiation for their next fights coming up, he'll be able to tell them, "I'm a member of Master Boxing, School of Boxing. We have a media source. They reach 20 million people a month on average. You know, that's a big deal. Even if he was to say 100,000, they say, okay, we gotta because this is a pay-per-view event. And how will it sell? See, I don't have the data to give the information because if so, I'll put it up because they're fighting today, which is tomorrow in Australia. So you guys, let's get this thing together, man. Don't play around. Use it. Don't abuse it. But understand that you're wasting time if you're not going to build a brand. And fighting ain't gonna do it. Shakur Stevens fighting, but his brand ain't doing nothing. You see, I'm trying to get this thing for some reason. It is tripping. It's okay. So I'm gonna take this out of the studio so I can show you guys our actual sparring
Now, in this
session.
section of the School of Boxing, what we're going to learn is how to get into the ring and spar. One of the first things we do, round one is make sure that you never give your guy a good angle. So
All right. So I'm going to give you guys 90 seconds of how this looks when you're a beginner and you're ready to learn how to establish your boxing skills in the ring. And you're going to learn the kind of things that you don't always get an opportunity to learn, especially if you're not from boxing royalty. These are the kind of basic fundamentals as we start and establish. So I'm going to give you an instruction and then I'm going to let you see how the round looks. As a matter of fact, let's get it popping.
double steps or circles, keep changing the angles. Pop, pop, pivoting, pop, pop, and just being smart, rebounding, making sure you got the proper distance, and keeping your head off the line. The angles are super important. Let's see what it looks like. Round one.
What you're witnessing here is they are fighting out here in the A zone. And what that does is say, I know where not to be, I know where I need to be. This is all about, you see how they're keeping their head off the line consistently. And no matter what happens, every 3 to 4 seconds, a jab must be established, or what will happen is you'll get out of sync. And that's not how you get better at boxing. Feints, jab steps, everything to see what your opposition wants to do. And if you can find out what they want to do, that means you can prevent that next agenda that they have. You can disrupt their game plan by knowing how to counter, knowing how to react, and knowing how to use the ring. This is not just moving in the ring. This is what we call the periodic table of boxing, which is exactly what I was showing you with Shakur Stevens and these guys at the beginning, but it for some reason just didn't want to play. And as you can see, the shorter fighters not having any trouble getting by the jab. And a lot of you have trouble with taller fighters, but you can just see there was not even any disturbance of his rhythm. He was in control because the only thing that can happen is a jab come. So if you're tipping and we create what we call the hip shift. So once that's happening, that person cannot land clean. And that is going to keep them like this. And as you notice, the taller fighter was getting tighter and tighter instead of coming out and establishing that jab, and now he has no timing. So that's a round wasted, and it's 0-1. And what'll happen the next round? The shorter fighter has built confidence, and not only that, he's going to start turning things up a notch, adding that right hand, and then by mid to the end of the round, start wiping his nose with the left hook. And the reason why you can do that is because you've established I won't let him control me with my jab or with his jab. And when you can do that, you can narrate this thing the way you want it to play out because that's what happens when you understand the ring. That's what happens when you have a system. The boxing playlist is the system that literally tells you exactly how to navigate and dictate every second of every round from 1 through 12. So if you only fight 4 rounds as a professional, you don't even have to worry about anything because you can double the amount of things you're doing because the boxing playlist literally has a video, audio, and the actual copy. You can just read every single thing to win a fight. And when I say that, it's like, yeah, you're going to win the fight if you're in control of the science of what's happening. That's one of the main things and tools that Floyd did. That's one of the main tools that Archie Moore did. That is the main tool that people who won a lot, like Ray Robinson, they never surrender that information. But that's it. That's why it's important to have over 100-year boxing lineage, because you get to do things that other teams only hope that they can get away with. But that's not the case. When I literally, and I say it with all humility, whatever you bring, it's not going to be enough. And we're going to take it away from you. And you're going to have to eat it with one hand. And that's always going to work against the opposition. So that's why it's important that you have all of these things noted. You can't avoid it. Change careers, but you won't be a master boxer, a person that's a master at boxing and has been shown how to fight. That's why we implemented the peekaboo, the Philly shell, cutie style, Ali circles, circuits, all of that, float like a butterflies, all of these different double dips, everything that prevents us from having skill atrophy. For those of you who don't understand what that means we will never be void of skill in the ring. A skill that's necessary and requires textbook learning. You can't fish around and figure out what you don't have, because you're going to keep finding things you don't have because it's all in one book. So if you spread it around, it'll take 50,000 years to get it all. But you can take everything that you scrolling around on social media and you can have it in one book and it'll be a part of your day-to-day process. Now, how cool would that be? How much stress would be out of your brain? How much better would you get on a weekly basis? How much more confidence would you gain if you had everything in front of you? How would you handle success when you get it? Because you understand how not only to develop the skill and have the proper mentors around you, but at the same time, you now know exactly how to build the interest in who you are, what you're here to do. Just imagine if 1 million people were screaming out your name, how much would you be able to handle that level of fame? Because that is your new normal. You will be able to finally say to everyone who doubted you, I told you so. Your parents, your relatives, your friends that hate on you, your exes, everybody that has been the actual driving force, those people leaving comments on your timeline, not positive. Or if you don't even have hate, that means you haven't done anything. So you got to get to that point. But what it feel like to wake up in the morning and knowing that maybe you got 90,000 messages, all people who just want to know you better. You just got messages that just scroll and your phone. That's what your life will be like. That's why we did it, because our system works. That's why we got such a big following, because it works. So if you use it, it'll work for you. It's worked for several top guys who are out here now, and it's going to work for you too. So make sure that you keep that in mind, because you won't get there without that. Now, I'm gonna see the number 4, the 3 and 4 thing that I got on this agenda. What else will you need? Advisors. And those advisors are going to play a role in your life because it's a big deal. Let me see what my guy Paul. Here we go. Good day, Coach. 7 a.m. here. Fight day is here. Exactly what we have been working on. Yeah, I highly recommended making the purchase. We need the information, Paul. We were trying to figure this out. So if you haven't already, then get yourself this bundle. Yes, we are going to encourage everybody. We're going to post it on the page. Unfortunately, they have all the way into this evening. So make sure we get the link so you guys can watch this, because this is a good little card that they got. It's only like $19. You guys jump on it and Hopefully they do the thing right. This is what I'll do for my coaches. Because we have a reach of so big, for weeks we'll lead up and we'll take the relationship that we build with your promotional company, and we'll take what we, whoever we're responsible for, and we'll boost it out there crazy. We'll run every video that goes. I got videos that go viral every week. Every week is overrated. It just brings a whole lot of noise, but you got to be ready for it. But one thing that will happen is we will take great liberty, and we will have all the details on the page, and we will have all of the flyers on the page, and we will have all of the links and discounts for people who will purchase into the stuff. And if they can't purchase, at least be around for the film study and the post fight film study, where we break things down in the coach's corner. This is all in Champions University, the School of Boxing. We do boxing for real. And when you look at the dream team back in 92 and how the rest of the world finally caught up, and it took us years, like a decade, to start back winning, that was because they learned the system on how to play serious organized ball. You can't beat teams that are organized. We're organized. You're just not going to do it. Now, I know you're working hard and I know you have an ego, but you're going to have to move that ego aside, and you got to get real learning, real tutelage. You got to, because that's what it takes. Now, you can't win a Super Bowl without a quarterback, and you can't stop a running game without a defense. You can't win world titles or national titles without a team in place. So if you're out here as a lone ranger, then you got to build. And that's what it is. That's why collaborations are so important. But what happens is guys out here, they just don't understand how to do it. I've been there, you know, but you got to. These guys, they had to do uncomfortable things, but the outcome is to making it to places like this.
Um,
You get what I'm saying? Like, you get to make it. Let me see what you're saying, Paul. Paul's dropping another nugget. Yeah, buddy. Go, and what we did yesterday is we had a pre-fight call. I'll send you the fight link. Yes, do that. We'll post it on a page, and you need to tell the promoters that it's a good thing that if they need to get contact to us when they're putting on fights like this, because it's about making money so you can put on another one. You know, these shows cost, the venues cost, having all of these bells and whistles costs, banners. Everybody wants money. Everybody has their handout. So, it's not, no one's sitting around on just a ton of cash. People use assets and credit and donations. People do so much to put shows on that you guys don't know about because you're so worried about, I trained for a fight. I shouldn't have to promote it or sell the tickets. Well, you should fight in bar rooms then, because that's where it's free. You can go fight at a bar for free. But if you want to build something, you got to contribute. And the better your social media is, the easier it is for a promoter to want to have you on a fight card. If you're not, you're just going to be an opponent. They'll put you in there against 1990 Mike Tyson, and he'll blow you out of the water. They'll just get you out of there. Boxing know how to get you out of there. Let me see. What else is he saying? The fight should be on at 4:30 a.m., close to 5:30 Miami time. Yeah. All right. Good. I see that link. Y'all see that link? Write that link down. I'll copy it and put it on the page, and we'll support. You need to let those promoters know, though, Paul. Coach, you got to let them know that we're here to play as this leg, and we will put this out to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, depending on if I decide to put a viral kind of video out, so it attracts more people. And so that's what will help them sell pay-per-views, because we could probably sell 500 pay-per-views. I believe that our fans love boxing. And I believe if I promote it for a couple of weeks on this page, that people will come out and watch. They will watch that shit. And we'll have a fight party. And then we can do a post-fight joint. Yeah, a post-fight, because I love doing those film studies after the fight. 100% let Steve know. Yeah, this is how we do it. I didn't build this tremendous university to not use it. I didn't just do it to grow for myself. I did it because people need help. You guys, and I'm gonna be honest, and I don't mean anything by this. This is perfect. I mean this with all due, the most humble spirit. Is you guys are like still like my like nephews. I have to show you the way to do things because I've already done it. That's the same thing your dad would do. That's the same thing your mom would do. That's the same thing your auntie would do. They would show you things that you don't know how to do. You don't know how to build your brand. You don't know how to groom and develop a fighter all the way. You don't know how to do it because you haven't done it. And that's one of the key things that Jeff Mayweather told me many years ago. You know what I'm saying? He said, build up these guys from the scratch, coach, and that will give you all the things that you need. That's one thing that Jeff Mayweather said a long time ago that never ever wavered because we had a close friend in common named Jose Gonzalez. He was one of the guys that start calling me Fight Doctor way back in the 90s. And he lived out in Vegas and he was partners with Jeff. And it was so cool because Jose was always a good person who always had a good hustle going on. He used to sell VHS tapes, and I used to order tapes when I would lose my fights, and I would go. His things were boxing videos on VHS AOL. That's crazy. I remember that. But I don't know, I got like maybe 40,000 fights. So, and they've been all watched more than once. So you talk about knowing boxing, you know, you know, I know boxing, and then I did 4 decades. So I understand these things that I put on these lists. They're legitimate. You need to know these kind of things to do it. So I'm the only one from my neck of the woods at all that is a fan of boxing like I was and become actual blueprint in the sport. You can't make that up. So with these things, man, this sparring, when you see these kind of skills and techniques by these guys who are just learning how to move around the ring, learning how to look at there, see how to short a fighter do that throwaway. As soon as the guy come in, hook, bam. Like you come in here with that stuff you've been working on in the gym. Look, man, it doesn't happen to me. When you get to that world championship level, man, the kind of dudes you meet, it ain't like them dudes there where you are from. These dudes on another level. And some people may never go like legitimately pro. They just masters of the sparring realm and they will whip your ass. And that's the game, man. You'll get to meet what we call these dynamos, gym dynamos. Everybody got them. Sometimes they make it to the top of boxing and fall off because they didn't have lineage. So they didn't know how to manage their career and make the right chess moves. And so where they end up being is just really gatekeepers at the gym and exposing fighters who's supposed to be legit. And then they spank them. And that's what happens, man. And so we want to prevent that from happening. So with our coach now, we're not perfect. He didn't get the data to me before. We didn't make the contact with the promoter. So they would start seeing him as an asset instead of just someone that's helping be on this card. The asset is when they see you, they like, yo, that's what happens when we show up. We don't pay for tickets nowhere. We show up, people say, "Oh," they know what it is. We come in, we bring in the smoke. We also bring in 20 million. So ain't nobody gonna say no to that. And that's what happens when you get to this level, when you got the crowd and you got the experience and you got the team, doors open for you. You can go do a deal with any kind of brand you want to. Who do you want to get in bed with and start doing stuff with? You want to fight? Yeah, but you want to have a life outside of fighting where you can be winning like crazy. And if you look at some of these fighters who are out here today, what we're trying to do is encourage them, even if you're still boxing, let's just use Adrian Broner for an example. Even if you still boxing, maybe you didn't do all the stuff outside of boxing that you needed to. You can now build your own brand up so that you can do relatively huge deals, bigger than the ones you did in boxing, because you built the brand already. Now you have to build your personal brand, and that will help you. So when you go boxing in the amateurs, you can be like Sugar Ray Leonard was as an amateur. Everywhere you look, this guy was everywhere. And guys like De La Hoya, these gold medal winners, you do something like that now, wow. And you learn how to build it up, you're going to be off the chain. So just stay encouraged and just know that there's so much here for you to know about. And here's just a segment that I wanted you guys to hear from the other day that we had a conversation, and the guy was talking about making weight. So listen to this. You'll find this very interesting. Some of you may have seen some of it. If so, who cares? Just watch it again. But this is a powerful clip.
To learn because this past fight with another fighter,
Mhm.
uh, it was the day of the fight. He hadn't eaten almost nothing the day before, and we went to a restaurant. He ate some tacos, and I was like, like I said, I'm just in the corner. The real coaches are there, and I'm like, what is he supposed to be eating? And you know,
Yeah,
and then one of the other questions was how much, because I remember when Mayweather said you need to be under the weight, like going up, not overweight and going down, you
correct.
know. And for what I remember, but it's interesting you say with the 8 pounds,
Yeah,
you say they have to be only
yeah.
8 pounds above.
Do you know why?
No, I don't.
Because there's only three reasons why fighters lose fights. This is
Uh-huh.
kind of what I'm bringing to the game, a
Yeah.
different perspective on how they're viewing that. The reason why the guy is more than 8 pounds overweight is because he's not living. Number two is lifestyle. You're either overtraining and building the muscles too big for your body to fight, or you're eating, drinking, partying. It's whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Why would you go to the gym 6 days a week and run every day, but you're still overweight? Unless you're consuming an abundance of food that's not required calorically for you to operate functionally on a day-to-day basis. So it can be muscle. Muscle is the same impact on your heart as fat. If you
Yes.
15 pounds of muscle, you 15 pounds overweight.
Hmm. Yes.
Doesn't matter
Yes,
what it
coach.
is. The heart don't care. The heart can't detect if it's blood. I mean, if it's muscle or fat. The just heart knows just strain on it. That's why all of the bodybuilders die like that. The bottom line is you guys don't understand about the human body. This has been my field of study since 1993. 1993 has been my field of study. I knew I knew I was connected to the human body because I just was so in tune to other people's, not just mine, but other people's. And hence is why I was a successful trainer, very successful, recruited by the NFL, not went there looking for a job, recruited. Understanding the human body. You are overweight. I don't care how good it looks. Probably 74% of the fighters above 140 pounds are over the weight that they should be, but they want to look a certain way. So if you want to look a certain way, that's going to come with a price. I don't care how much you justify what you're doing. I used to do the same thing, and you can't outtalk me. I speak about 60,000 words a day. So you can't outtalk me. When you are doing this thing, I used to make those same excuses. Oh, I'm only pumping up all this lightweight. I'm only doing this, but your muscles still grow. It does not understand. It just knows it's active every time you eat, you putting food in. If you're doing so much cardio, you're running the muscle flaccid. And so if you're punting back all that muscle that went flaccid because you're doing cardio, burning all of the glycogen stores out of the muscle. So all your body's doing is feeding off muscle. That's why muscles become flaccid. And once they're flaccid, you got to you want them to look back strong. You're walking around looking like Tyson Fury, skinny fat, because you don't understand. So you start doing more resistance training to tighten and build your muscle up. But what you're doing is making a football body. You're not making a boxer body. If you're a boxer, if you go look at a Vander Holyfield right now, if he was an actual, cruiserweight, because that's really what he is, light heavy cruiserweight. And you see how a muscular guy supposed to actually look. He'll tell you, man, I wish I wouldn't have been carrying all that weight, but he thought he could, and he had a little help, But I'm telling you, a person with that loose muscle, he can do that. He can do so much damage to you. But you see anybody coming in there too muscular, and too muscular, you got to understand what the gauge is when you do that. That's a whole nother conversation and talk where I teach you guys about points of the body where you can pay attention to tell if a person is over the weight he should be. That's what you have to realize and pay close attention to. But before I get out of here with this, and I spoke to, our company, Jab Juice, but it's important that I speak to the guys who are going out competing in these amateur tournaments. And we got, K2 boxing and jiu-jitsu out in Everett, Washington, who's doing their thing. They banging this weekend. So we wish them all the luck in the world. We wish them to follow the process and stay up under their great leadership with Coach Colazar. Those guys are doing great things. They're building an amazing program out there. You best believe you're going to see them. And when these tournaments are starting to just continue to catapult all the way into the Olympics, you guys are going to just keep hearing these names. And then you're going to just be seeing them on the television. And then you're going to keep saying, oh, I wish I would have listened. Because this generation will be gone. It'll be the next generation before you know it. Guys like Adrian Broner, it was like yesterday, he was a superstar. Now he's going around looking just to, survive in the sport with a name brand like that. That's why you got to focus on building your name brand. And I think he's a super talent. He's a super talent. And I think he's grown up a lot. And sometimes when you got a lot of talent, a God gift, that can work against you if you're not in the right, you know, developmental programs. Psychologically, you got to work on your mind. You got to work on making sure that you do the right things to grow your brand, grow your personality, and understand that communication is a skill set, and you got to know how to communicate. You can't come out of your mouth like you want to. That's called low EQ, and you have to get your EQ where your IQ is, because a low EQ drops your IQ. So, with that being said, think before you leap, before you type anything that you type out here in social media. Remember, that is recorded data in history. Even if you delete it, it's there, it can be traced. Be careful what you say, be careful what you do. Because people have memory, and you got to remember what goes around comes around. So support as many people as you can, help as many people as you can, and that should be a part of your daily regimen. And remember the 5 things that you will need to be successful. What I tell our coaches, my advice to those coaches that's going out and competing, make sure you just establish the jab, just like you just seen these guys. If you're fighting someone bigger, make sure you let them know that you have no fear of fighting in the B zone, beating them up with your jab and making them miss with theirs. It does not matter. And if you don't have these things in front of you and understand what they mean, that God is loaded, and our school is even doper. So learn, grow. Let me see. Let me see what you're saying. I learn, watch what you say. Yeah. Yep. That's right. You got to be careful what you say because the universe has ears and what you say can come to fruition. So you speak positivity. Go down, and if you can't speak positivity, go read some of these posts that we put up. Our company, we put up posts every day to encourage, to make sure you're motivated, because some people are not disciplined, so they have to find motivation. And when you start to learn and differentiate between the two, discipline is what you do. The things that you hate doing, you're doing them like you love them, and you don't miss every single day. Persistence, consistency, and that's how you get to the big boom bag. Make sure that you cover your bases and help other people out. That means beyond what you do for yourself, you extend that to people who have that same mentality but just have less resources, and you help pull them up. But spend 80% of your time with people who are further ahead of you, so you won't pull from where you're going, messing with these people all the time. All right. You don't supposed to live down here. You're only supposed to come down there, swoop up, be up, but stay up 80% of the time, right? And a lot of you trainers, I'm gonna call you out. You are working so hard on skills and stuff, but you ain't got no clients. You ain't got, and you can't keep them. You don't know what you're doing. You got to spend 80% of your time. These gym owners, all y'all doing is cleaning the gym, buying stuff, you know, buying regimens like what we got, but you're not getting invested in knowing how to sell what you do. You got to sell what you do. Look how we sell what we do. We sell because selling is serving. I'm here serving. Every day I get up and write y'all a letter. Every day I get up, I write y'all a letter. It ain't no copy paste post. It ain't no chat GPT. That stuff comes from my brain. I got witnesses. Every single day, it's one authentic one. Every single day. Because I'm serving, because I know what I got can fix your life. And I want you as my testimony so that we can reach a higher level together, and I can reach back and do like I'm doing with Coach Haraber. I can help him out. His people, he can connect, and I can serve them higher because I'm serving him higher. I'm positioning him with the right people that he need to be around. I'm telling everybody that's I'm connected with about them already. So they're going to already be on the radar of people from the WBC, WBA, IBO, IBF, and WBA. Why? Because we know people in the sanctioning bodies. Hey, I got a coach, you got a fighter, you got to check them out. See, automatically, he's a candidate to be on big cards. Automatically. One fight, be in, boom. Go out there and win tonight, Paul, because we got a lot of juice. So we're connected. And I'm not connected because I know a guy. I do the business for these companies. That's what we do. Jab Juice Consultants. We consult with major companies, multi-million-dollar companies, franchises, establishments that are staples in the community. That's what we do. We blow shit up. That's what we do. So it helps us serve higher. We know a lot to share, and we still have plenty to learn. But the amount that we know, if you had it, imagine where you would be. That's what we're trying to do to you. So that's all I got today. Hopefully you got a little bit from this, knowing how to be in a position where you posturing, you're sparring, knowing how to build up yourself, get comfortable with talking. We're going to have an actual video challenge in our group. So if you're not in the School of Boxing group, do what it takes to get in there. Go over there to the School of Boxing group over on Facebook, boom, boom, and say, hey, I need to find out how to do this. We're going to do that. We're scheduling it in the group next week. Learn exactly what to do to get started. So all of you athletes and you trainers also need to build your personal brand and stuff. So hopefully this sounds like it's something that's going to intrigue you enough to say, hey, I need to get that smoke because you do a good job. I know I do a good job because I work my ass off learning. And I know I make it look easy, but it's a lot of work that goes behind it. And that's why jabjuice.com. Lights, cameras, action. It takes commitment, man, but it's all good. Special shouts out to all of my peeps over in North Carolina. They won in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So special shouts out to my Tar Heels and everybody who's out here doing it every single day. Special shout out to you, Jab Juice Consulting Agents. This is what it's all about: growing, prospering, and passing it forward, and dropping the ladder down and pulling your people up, but reaching higher so you can get with the big boys. That's all I got. Be blessed at Godspeed. Enjoy the fights over the weekend, and make sure that you continue to follow Master Boxing. If you want to learn how to elevate your career, be sure to watch Think Bigger on Mondays and Wednesdays. That's all I got. That podcast is smoking if you like to expand your mind. Coach Bradley signing out. Be blessed. Good luck.